Hello there and welcome to another class with the Dance Floor Activist, or me, Matthew. Today's class is a yoga class and I've created a class for posture, so yoga for posture. I could have called the class front opening, which maybe being more typical sort of yoga name for a class. But I also like the idea of calling it undoing the sofa posture. The feedback I'm getting from people online is that I have quite a few regulars who are spending a lot of time at home, and of course this thing beckons when you're at home. So I thought we'd do a nice gentle yoga class today. I could have called the class Yoga for the Lazy, or for people that are feeling lazy, because of course the more you sit, the more you want to sit. So this is a really gentle class, and even if you're not feeling like exercising, this is something you can do. I'm going to try and keep the class quite short, so it's a nice gentle class that you can drop in on and even maybe do over the next few days. So we're going to start lying on our backs and allowing the breath to drop down into the bottom of the rib cage. Now you're going to allow the whole body to rest down into the floor. Relax the neck, relax the arms, relax the legs, and see how your spine feels on the floor beneath you. Now if it's really uncomfortable to lie with your legs out, you can always bend your knees and place your hands on your tummy if that's more comfortable. I'm going to sit up, but you keep lying down and allowing that breath to drop down into the bottom of the rib cage. Think about your arms being really heavy, your legs giving over to the weight of gravity, and thinking about the shape of your neck, so allowing the neck to be long. You could always pop a book, or if you have a yoga block, putting a block underneath your head, if that makes it more comfortable for you to lie on the floor. And you can also pop any pillows you have under your knees. The important thing is that you're feeling relaxed. And we're going to stay here and focus on our breath for just a little while, allowing the breath to come in our nose and out of our nose, trying to slow down the rhythm of the breath. And if it feels nice to, you can create a little sound on your breath out, so you're trying to fog up a mirror in front of you. And then you could try doing this with your mouth closed. Now, remove any blocks you have under your head or underneath your knees, and then bring your feet to be hip width apart with your knees in the air, just as I'm demonstrating here. You're going to rest your hands by your hips and suck your belly in and roll your lower back into the floor. So you're just oscillating a little in your hips, rolling the hips forward and back, just feeling into your lower back, allowing that breath to stay in the bottom of the rib cage. It's interesting to notice, had you forgotten to breathe before I said it? And then rolling the lower back into the floor, pushing down into the feet to lift the hips up. Now you're going to push as high as you can. I've got quite high here, but you really don't need to come this high if that doesn't suit your body. And once you're up in the air, imagine that you've got a balloon between your knees and you're going to give that balloon a little squeeze. You don't want to pop it, but just giving it a little squeeze before rolling back down. Now you're going to try and roll through every single vertebra, sucking the belly and rolling through the lower back or the lumbar spine, and resting the hips back on the floor. Now you should feel that quite strongly in the back of the legs there, in your hamstrings. Now we're going to pull both knees into the chest and give ourselves a hug. Now feel free to do any movements you want whilst you're giving yourself a hug. Squeeze your knees into your chest. Give them a little move about. See how your hips are feeling today. And then from there, rotate your knees to the right hand side and open your arms up to the ceiling. Now the higher your knees, the more of a stretch you'll get in your lower back. The lower your knees, it eases off the stretch. Now notice I'm not closing my knees up here. You just let them hang however they hang. It could be down here. Just as long as you're feeling some sort of stretch in your lower back. Now engage your tummy muscles, suck that belly in, and allow the knees to fall down the other side towards the left hand side. And again, allow that breath to fall into the bottom of the rib cage. Now I'm imagining, because we're doing this in our homes, or at least I'm presuming you're doing it in your home, there's no reason why you couldn't do this at a later date in the office or at a studio. We're going to be quite warm. But if you're feeling a little chilly, do feel free to go and put on an extra layer of clothes. Keep yourself warm for this really gentle class, or at least I hope you feel it's gentle. Hugging the knees back into the chest. And we're going to come up to sitting. Now, you can keep facing this way, though at some point in the class I'm going to turn around to face you. But you can keep sitting along your mat here, whether you've got the computer or phone in front of you or to the side. Now, I'm going to ask you to open your chest. So you're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and open the chest. The feet are hip width apart or outside the hips, the knees are bent. And then you're bringing the shoulder blades together, opening the chest. Now, if you're really very flexible or hypermobile and your arms are over bending here, just put a little flexion in them and focus the stretch instead in the front of the shoulders in your chest area. And then we're going to match this movement to our breath. So breathing in as we open, breathing out as we relax back. So breathing in as we open here, breathing out as we relax back. And then from here, keeping your hands where they are and the knees where they are, you're going to let the knees collapse down one side and then the other. Now, we're not looking to make this move too passive. Instead, I'd like you to be quite active and really push the top hip over, so you start to get a stretch down the side of your body, this here, around here, really opening one side and the other. Oh. Gently rocking your knees from side to side. Lovely. And then coming to all fours. Now, if your knees don't like being on all fours, then you can always get a towel or a blanket to put under your knees to give yourself an extra bit of cushioning. If you're on carpet like me, it probably won't be an issue. Now we're going to take our shoulders around the wrist, just gently warming up into the wrists. And again, if being on your hands is problematic for your wrists, you could always come and put a pillow under your thumbs, just to so you're not in such a flexed position in your wrist. So let's move the other way. We've circled around one way, let's circle around the other. Now we're going to tuck the tailbone under and round the shoulders out into cat pose. Then inhale, try and take the chest forward, the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, breathing out, coming to cat pose, feeling like a cat that's trying to scare another cat. Or inhale, coming to cow pose. Really opening the chest, lovely. Exhale. And inhale, nice deep breath into the bottom of the rib cage. Now we're going to extend the right arm and the left leg. So the right arm comes forward and the left leg comes back. Now this is a balance challenge. So if you feel yourself rocking all over the place, you can always bring your back toe to the floor to give yourself a little bit more stability. and resting. Let's inhale as we open. Exhale as we rest back. Now you can keep doing this version of pointer, extending the right arm and the left leg, relaxing, then the left arm and the right leg. Or you can challenge yourself with this next move, taking the right arm back, extending the left leg, then bending the knee and holding the foot. Now we're going to open the front of the right shoulder and the front of the left thigh or the quadricep, and then relax. Let's do the same on the other side, extending the left leg and the left arm and the right leg, extending the left arm backwards, bending the right leg, holding onto the foot if you can reach it, and stretching through that quadricep. And if you can't do this move, don't worry, we're going to do a stretch later on that will help open the front of the thigh. Now from here, this is one of my favourite moves, we're going to take the right, I'm just going to turn around the other way so I can face you as I do this move. We're going to thread the right arm under the left arm, let the elbow come up into the air, and then relax the right shoulder down onto the floor. Now my head's on the floor, but my weight is in the shoulder. And from there, I'm going to push the back of my forearm down into the floor and resist back a little in my shoulder to open up the right side of the body. Now you stay there as I swivel round and then pushing down into the left arm and opening up the right arm to the ceiling. Now you might be here, you might be here, or you might be able to go further than me. But keep both knees on the floor and really open that chest, pushing down into the left arm, lifting up into the right, and then resting back down. Let's do that on the other side. So threading the needle, left arm under right, resting the left shoulder down onto the floor. Lots of lefts and rights here, I hope you're keeping up. I usually get confused at some point. I've got no one to ask for help this time either. You can always put it in the comments if you see I've gone wrong. Opening the left arm to the ceiling, deep inhale, exhale, resting the hand on the floor. Now from here, this is my favourite pose of all. We're going to walk the hand forward, pop the tailbone in the air. Now let me tuck my t-shirt in so you can see what's happening with my hips. If it feels okay in your back to do this, you're going to tuck your tailbone in the air, walk your hands forward and rest the elbows on the floor, tailbone in the air. Then come and rest your forehead or chin. If you're miles away from the floor, grab your book or block. You can always pop that under your head. Now you want to feel the stretch in the armpit. So you're really looking to pull the tailbone up into the air. So I've come behind you and I'm just tilting your hips up in the air. And you're extending the spine, so you need to pull your tummy in to look after your lower back. And then coming to the elbows, walk the knees back, come down to Sphinx pose. Now I'm going to push my pubic bone down into the floor, take the shoulders away from the ears, and push the chest forward, engaging all the muscles in the top of my back, pushing the feet down into the floor, the shoulders away from the ears. If this feels really uncomfortable in your lower back, walk your elbows forward a little so you're not in such an extended position in your spine. Also, there's a little trick, which is to place your block or book in between your thighs and really squeeze it hard. And that way you engage your pelvic floor muscles, and quite often that takes away any of the discomfort in the lower back. Now you're going to exhale and rest the right cheek down onto the floor. This is the face cheek here. Lovely. Now give yourself a little rest before squeezing your block or squeezing your legs, but coming back to the elbows, opening the chest, pushing the lower ribs towards the floor. Inhale, exhale, resting the left cheek on the floor. Now removing your block, if you've got one there, I'm going to ask you to roll onto your left hand side. Now move your screen or phone so that you can still see me, and then come and hold the foot or ankle in your hand, and then push your hip forward and pull your knee back so that your foot is being pushed into your hand and your hand is being pushed into your foot. Now feel the stretch across the front of this leg. Now, if you can do this without too much trouble, then you can do it on your front rather than on your side. You can have an experiment. Pull the heel into the bottom. So we're trying to stretch the middle of the thigh here, or the quadriceps. It's called half frog pose. Lovely. And then rolling onto your right hand side, and we're going to repeat the exercise. So pushing the hip forward, holding your ankle or foot, pushing your foot into your hand, or again rolling onto your belly to do the same move but in this more gentle position if you've got the length in your quadriceps in the front of your thigh. And relax. Now we're going to change the move slightly. I'm going to ask you, if you're rolling onto your left hand side again, to push a little higher. So push the foot really away so that you start to bring your knee back a little bit. If you're on your front here, your knee might lift off the floor now. Trying to keep your neck relaxed. Feel the stretch across the front of the shoulder and maybe all the way up into your hip, into your psoas. And relax, rolling onto your right hand side or holding the foot in the hand, lifting the knee off the floor. Really opening the front of the hip. Now you're going to, I've stopped doing that, but you continue to stretch. Take some deep breaths and relax. Now, one more challenge, should you want to do it, and if you can, is to hold both feet and lift all the way up, sucking the belly in just like we were when we were doing Sphinx, pushing the pubic bone down into the floor. Some deep breaths here. Ooh, and relaxing. Let's push back into child's pose. Now, not everyone's knees like to allow the bottom back onto the heels like this, and if that's uncomfortable for you, pop a blanket or pillow underneath in between your thighs and calves. And you can always pop a block underneath your head if that's more comfortable. Coming to really relax the shoulders, relax the neck. And allow the breath to really reach right up here into the upper back. It's a good opportunity to really feel your breath breathing up into the ribs, across your back, opening all those muscles in between the ribs, the intercostal muscles. Now I'm going to have whilst you're in child's pose, I'm going to have a little look at how long the video is. Oh, there we are. So coming back to the belly, we're going to lift up like we were in Sphinx, but without the arms, so no support this time. Reaching the arms back, sucking the belly and pushing the pubic bone down and lifting the legs off the floor. Now again, pop your block between your thighs if you're feeling this in your lower back, and if you're feeling really bendy this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, I shouldn't say times, I don't know when you're watching this, you can interlace the fingers and lift up. Long neck. Exhale, resting back. Now we're going to push back and bring the right leg forward. So the right leg's in between the hands. I want you to make sure that your knee doesn't come forward of your toe. So you've got a right angle here. And I'm going to ask you to drop your hips a little bit further to feel the stretch in the front of the left hip. Now you can rest up on your hands here, on your knee, or you can keep leaning on the floor if that's more comfortable. Or you can take the arms up into the air, interlace the fingers, and pop your left elbow into the sky. And relax. Let's relax the hands back down. And we're going to swap over. So bringing the left leg forward, the right leg's back, coming to rest on the knee if that feels comfortable. Suck the belly and tuck the tailbone under and lean the hips forward. You see it's a very small movement, but it increases the stretch here quite dramatically. Taking the hands behind the head if it feels comfortable and lifting the right shoulder in the air. And coming to rest. Now we're going to come back to sitting. I'm going to draw the class to an end in the next 10 minutes or so. Let's take the hands across the thigh and look over the left shoulder. So I'm mirroring you here. I'm looking over my right shoulder, but you're looking over your left. If you're looking over your right, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the other side anyway. So push against the thigh, really look around and relax. You're trying to sit your spine really tall. Now, if you're sitting a bit like this, pop a block underneath your bottom to help you keep a straight spine. And again, if you can't sit cross-legged, this is great, you know. As long as you're comfortable and you're getting a stretch in your lower back. Now we're going to bring the feet together. This is called sitting bound angle pose. And we're going to bring the hands across the left thigh and lift the right arm in the air. Now you might want to walk your hand out here. As long as you're sitting on both bum cheeks, you're doing well. Then press down into the hands. Really get that right elbow right up into the sky. Lovely. And let's do the same on the other side. So pushing down into the right hand and lifting the left elbow right up into the sky. Deep breath to open up those muscles in between the ribs. Breathing out and relaxing. Now let's take the hands and massage the back of the neck. Just give yourself a little rub. Maybe draw some little circles with your fingers across those muscles. Lovely. Now I want to quickly stretch the hamstrings before we finish, the backs of the leg before we finish the class, because there are areas that get quite tight. In fact, let's do that on our back. So coming to roll back onto the floor. Now you can keep both knees bent when you do this, or you can straighten the left leg as you pull the right leg up to the sky. Now you notice I'm holding underneath the thigh here. I haven't got very long hamstrings. And you notice I put a bend in the leg, because bending the leg keeps the stretch here rather than in the calf, and I'm looking to stretch the hamstrings. However, if you're very flexible, you'll be able to reach your calf and bring your leg right up over here. Now it's an engaged position, so the front of my leg is active, so the back of my leg is released. And then hugging the knee into the chest, let's join the left to the right knee and swap over. Pushing that heel to the ceiling. Oh, always got one tighter than the other. And coming to relax. Now you can again pop the pillows underneath your knee or lay completely flat. Allow the hands to open up to the ceiling. Allow the chest to lie heavy. And if you fancy it, and really it's only if you fancy it, you could grab a pillow to put under your back here so that you're opening your chest a little more. It just depends whether you've got a pillow that's the right sort of comfortable size for you to hand. Otherwise, just rest there. Now I'm going to sit up, but you keep lying down. You can close your eyes and I'll talk you through a quick meditation. But if you're really enjoying this, lie down on your back, then feel free to let the video just run out of time, finish, and then you can continue to lie there enjoying the sounds outside of the window, the sounds in your flat, or maybe just your breath. You might even want to have a quick 5-minute shut-eye. The important thing here is to try and keep the mind still. Now that's impossible to do, to be honest. Thoughts always drift in your head. The important thing here in a meditation is to allow those thoughts to come into your head, but not focus on them. So you allow them to come in, but bring yourself back to the steady act of breathing. Now as you breathe, I want you to allow the eyes to close or the gaze to be soft. Allow the expression to melt away from your face. And give your jaw a wiggle. Let the tip of the tongue rest just behind your teeth on the hard palate. so the rest of the tongue is soft in the throat. Allow the neck to be long. Allow the shoulders to be heavy so that the arms feel the full weight of gravity. And start encouraging that breath to slow down. To be deeper in your body. To extend your inhalation to use the whole of your lungs, starting all the way down into the bottom of the rib cage and coming all the way up to the collarbone or the clavicle here. Allowing the stomach to be soft, rising and falling to the rhythm of your breath. Coming to allow the legs to be heavy and soft in your hips, in your bottom, in your lower back. And for the next few minutes, you've got nowhere to be, nothing to do, nothing to act upon. Focusing on the rhythm of your breath, encouraging your breath to be deep, rhythmical and slow. And if there's a yawn or a sigh in your body, allowing it to express itself. So I'm going to encourage you to ignore my voice if you want to now keep the video running and allow yourself a few more minutes to relax into the weight of the weight of the floor. But if you are finishing now, come to roll on one side or the other. Give yourself a few moments and use your hands to come back up to sitting. Well done for giving yourself this half hour out of your day to focus in on your body, on your breath, and hopefully to give your mind some distraction from what is quite a strange and unusual time. I hope you're all well and your health is good. I'm going to finish the class just to say thank you to the people who have, I think on this app I've got that I'm displaying this video on, is buying me a coffee. Thank you for buying me a coffee. It all really helps, and it means I can keep making these videos each day. Thank you so much.